This is Solo P1, round 9, the debrief, episode 55, F1 2025, Spanish Grand Prix, race weekend review. For everybody who's listening to us on the pod, on the audio pod, that's iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, please remember to leave that feedback and recommend the podcast to your family and friends. Leaving feedback on iTunes, specifically iTunes, it really helps us build. As soon as you leave a comment or any sort of feedback, iTunes push the podcast out there for everybody to see or hear. So if you don't want to listen to us on the audio, you can maybe come over to the YouTube channel. You can watch our ugly faces here on Keep It Sports. And yeah, and that's it really. That's enough plugging. Let's get on to the race weekend review. But before I get into the race, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen. This kid, this idiot will never learn. Oh, he's not even a kid now. He's nearly 28, so he's a full-grown man. When he come into Formula One, I think he was 17. How time flies. The thing about it, I have to take my glasses off because it was bright in here, not now. Take my glasses off, put it on the side. This kid, this idiot, will never learn. Never learn. 2021. Wow, we can actually go back to 2017, 2019 when he had his debacle, or what I'd say controversial decisions when he went into Vettel in 2019. 2021, we know how that played out. In a normal scenario, in another driver scenario, the driver would have been exited from Formula One, probably banned for 2 races. But Max Verstappen got away with it. Abu Dhabi 2021. What did they call it again? What did they call it? Human error. Jeddah. Monza against Lewis. The list goes on. The list goes on. What it boils down to, you would have thought this geezer, yeah, Max Verstappen, would have learnt by now. Would have grasped the rules of Formula One. But he doesn't. He's had his problems with Lando Norris last season. The commentators on Sky Sports F1 continue to put this guy on a pedestal. He can take people out of the track. He can run into the back of people. But they still continue to plug him. Not every single commentator, but the majority of them. They continue to laud this man on a pedestal. And I don't know why. I don't know why. They always compare him to Michael Schumacher. They said he's one of them. He's like a next Michael Schumacher. They put him in the same category, the same bracket as Lewis Hamilton, Michael Schumacher, Ayrton Senna. They always put him in that bracket. They're trying to force the narrative to say, yeah, you know what? This guy is the future. They're doing the best to try and wipe out Lewis Hamilton's records. That's what they're doing. They're trying, but it's not working. But the thing about it, yeah, after that season that he had with Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, after that season, they said they came into 2022 when the regulations changed and when they had the ground effect. And the only car on the grid that mastered the ground effect was Red Bull. Red Bull. We had Adrian Newey, who had done a thesis in university on the ground effect in 1980. So when it came to the ground effect, they knew Wagwan, Red Bull. They had the jump on everybody. So in 2022, they completely wiped 2021 season away. They knew Lewis got robbed, but they didn't reverse the decision. They called it a human error. They had enough power to reverse the decision, but they never. But we move. We know Lewis Hamilton won it that year in 2021. Don't care what anyone says. Don't care. 2022 comes. They've got the fastest car on the grid by a mile. By a mile. The guy's winning races by 25 to 30 seconds. 25 to 30 seconds he's winning races. Very simple. Max Verstappen is. So, but by the 6th racing into the season 2022, we know that he's going to win the title. With no competition, nowhere near him. This guy is winning, he's getting pole after pole after pole, race win after race win after race win. Because nobody can get nowhere near him in 2022 and 2023. And the commentator said, you know what? Max Verstappen's grown up. He's turned the corner. He's not that guy he was in 2021 and 2020 and 2019, 2018 and 2017. He's changed. He's not crashing into nobody. He's not breaking any rules. He's a new guy. He's changed. He's a mature Max Verstappen. And I said to myself, has he really changed? Think about it. How has he changed? Because the guy's winning races by 30 seconds. So when he goes lights out of the way we go, he moves off and he's gone. So he's not really racing with anyone. The only way we are going to learn, that Max Verstappen has changed is when he goes wheel to wheel with someone. And when they go wheel to wheel with someone, nobody gets bumped off the track. Or he tries to bump someone off. That's the only way, because that's the only way you're going to know if someone's changed. If you're a professional driver, Formula One driver, the whole point of Formula One, the whole point of racing is when you drive, it's the art of not getting hit. One, you got to win. That's your aim, to win a title. If you're not in Formula One to win a title or any sort of race, don't race. It's not for you. Very simple. And two, the second rule is when you pass your opponent, it's the art of not getting hit or you don't hit someone. It's very simple. That's the simple logic of racing. Winning and not hitting no one. Very simple. Very simple. But everybody said this guy's changed. 2022, when he won races by 30 seconds, no challenge. 2023, he won races by 30 seconds again, no challenge. And it was only 2024 when Miami came, Miami Grand Prix, I think it was 7th race into the season, where McLaren goes, I figured it out. I figured the car out. It took them long enough. We thought Ferrari was going to do it. We thought McLaren was going to do it. Now we thought that Ferrari was going to do it. We thought that maybe Ferrari or Mercedes was going to do it, but they didn't. It was McLaren that figured it out. McLaren goes, we know how to do it. We got a new floor. And as soon as they put that new floor on, that was it. McLaren effectively become the fastest car. They went from being the third or fourth or third fastest to being the fastest. But the only thing is, when they became the fastest, the season was more or less over. Even though we were 7 races in, he won most of the races. So we had that big gap. He had that big gap. Yeah, the massive gap. Yeah, on the two McLaren boys. See, the advantage that Max Verstappen had is he's the only driver in Red Bull. All right, he had Checo. But Checo's not going to drive. Checo's not going to challenge Max Verstappen. Not the fact that he isn't good enough to challenge Max Verstappen. Red Bull are not going to give Checo the car to do it. They won't do it. They will not give Checo the car to beat Max Verstappen. The basic Checo's there to assist Max Verstappen. That's what he was there for. Just like before you had Albon, just like before you had Gasly. They're building that car for Max Verstappen. Christian Horner said it himself. Max Verstappen is our guy. We build the car for Max Verstappen. He's the one who wins the races. The reason why he wins the races is because they're building the car for his style. We all know if you watch Formula One, we know that Red Bull, Max Verstappen likes a pointy front end. The front of his car, he knows, a nice point. He likes a nice pointy end at the front of his car, and he likes it when it's nervous, so he can manipulate the car around the corners. We know what his driving style is, but that's not Checo's driving style. That's not Gasly's driving style. That's not Lawson's driving style. That's not Albon's driving style. That's 5 drivers that have failed and gone to Formula One. So you're saying all them drivers weren't good enough? It's the fact that they make this car for Max Verstappen. So that's the advantage he's got over the McLaren boys last season, because he knows that the 2 McLaren boys are going to take points off each other. That was the reason why Max Verstappen won the title last year. He won the first 7 races, and when McLaren woke up, when they got that new floor, they knew they had the fastest car. Him and Oscar Piastri was taking points off each other. Plus, Ferrari won the occasional race. I think Lewis won Silverstone. I think Charles Leclerc won Monaco. So basically, everybody was taking points off each other. That's the reason why he won the title last season. Now, if McLaren were clever last season and said, you know what? We've got the fastest car. We're going to make Lando Norris the main driver. I believe that Lando Norris would have caught him. But we move. We're on to 2024. We're coming to 2024. Most likely, we're going to see McLaren as the favourites. They were the favourites. They started smashing teams up. I think Max Verstappen won 1 race this year. I think it's 1 race. But the rest is the McLaren boys. Now, we're at this point of the season where Max Verstappen, he's an idiot, but he's not inept. He knows mathematics. I think he knows mathematics. He knows this stage of the game, he's probably not going to catch McLaren. He's probably not going to catch McLaren. And this is where the frustration's kicking. And this is why I kept telling people he hasn't changed. When you start challenging Max Verstappen, then you're going to see the difference if his mentality will hold up. And what did I say? Just as I said it, what happened today? He went in behind George and he buffed him off the track. His team said to him, Max, give the place back. Give the place back. And what did Max do? He thought he was playing F1 2024, 2025. You know, if you play that game and you play online and you're about to pass somebody, you get some troll and move over, let you pass him. And just as you pass him in the left corner, what happens? They'll come behind you and hit you. They come behind you and hit you. Very simple. And that's what Max Verstappen did today. He done it on purpose. The sky pad, Anthony does the sky pad. He said, I think he done it on purpose. We all know he done it on purpose. The reporter spoke to him, you done it on purpose. And he says, oh, that's your opinion. Very ignorant in the Sky when he was getting interviewed by Sky. I got the whole interview here. The Sky commentator, first question has to be, he said to him about the move on George. She said, was it intentionally? Basically, did you do it on purpose when you turned in? He said, does it matter? That's what Max Verstappen said. Does it matter if I turned it on purpose? This is what I'm talking about, the inept geek. You're on national television where you got people watching you. Millions of people are watching you, yeah? Millions of people are watching you. A lot of kids look up to him. I don't know why they look up to him, but they do. They look up to him and says, look, he says, does it matter, right, if I hit George on purpose? So basically, he's admitting it, that he did do it on purpose. So he blew up himself straight away in the first sentence of the interview. If you go and watch George's interview, it's a complete, the contrast between the two interviewers, yeah, between the two drivers is completely massive. It's huge. The contrast. You got George, composed, intelligent, knows how to speak, and then you move on to Max Verstappen, acting like a 9-year-old schoolboy, angry, doesn't know what he's talking about, and blatantly admitting it on television that he rammed George on purpose. That's basically what he did today, because does it matter? He says, Max Verstappen says, I prefer to talk about the race, not a single moment. So he says he prefers to talk about the race. I'm sorry, Max Verstappen. And he's part of the race. Weren't you racing at the time when your engineer told you to move over? It was part of the race. So what you're talking about, one moment? So when you talk about races, you got to talk about the whole race. This was part of the race. And this is a part of the race what stood out for everybody. Stood out for everybody because he intentionally hit him. So obviously the journalist was doing a job from Sky and she was asking him a simple question. And he retorted with a stupid answer like he always does. So let's move on. She said, that moment puts you down in 10th place with 1 point, which affects your driver's title hopes this year. Max Verstappen responded. Max said, well, I think we're too slow anyway. I don't think we can challenge. So he's basically admitting it that he ain't going to win the title. And that's the reason why he started to go back to the old Max Verstappen. Because he knows he can't win the title. His car's not fast enough. So he's getting frustrated. So these dirty tactics that he's doing at the moment, they're going to recur. They're going to come back again. You think this is the end of it? He's going to whack. When's the next race? I think it's in Austria. No, it's in Canada. Kind of a street track, kind of half of a street track, half of the normal track. Just watch him there. Watch him there when it comes wheel to wheel with somebody else. You're going to see what happens then. And he goes, at the end, she was being nice. For me, at the end, she was being nice, professional. And she said also, it's a shame because you've done so well in Imola when you've done that move. And then you do something like this. Kids are going to be watching. People are going to be watching you. What do you think? You know what I mean? Kids are going to be looking. I don't know. Listen, kids, don't look up to him, by the way. She goes, kids are going to be looking up to you and thinking, and he goes, I don't care. Basically, he says, I don't give a crap. That's basically what he's saying about if kids look up to him. She goes, he says, that's your opinion. Because that's your, no, but it's not her opinion. It's fact. The fact is, you went into the back of George Russell on purpose. You admitted it in the first sentence of your interview because it doesn't matter. So basically, you admitted it there. So it's not an opinion, it's fact because you admit it as well. You admitted it. So you blew yourself up in the interview. So I don't think he's the most intelligent guy, Max Verstappen. I think he's inept, in my opinion. Don't care who likes it or not if you're a Max Verstappen fan. This is not a guy that you look up to when you're driving. This guy is a train wreck waiting to happen. He's a complete and utter train wreck, in my opinion. And if it was me and the 10-second time penalty got awarded, he should have got black flagged or he should have been banned from the next race. This guy is reckless. And when it finished, it went back to the same old people. You had Simon Lazenby, you had a couple of other people there. Anthony went to the Sky Pad and he was analysing it. He admitted it that he was Max done it on purpose. And he was just there laughing. No, Anthony wasn't laughing. Simon Lazenby was there with his same old big gums, looking scruffy. He can't even fix himself up on TV. Got people coming on TV representing our country, yeah. And he's there. He looks like a tramp. Looks like he just crawled out of bed. He can't even iron his jeans. He can't even iron his shirt. And he's on national television. And it looks like he had a few babies the night before as well. And he's there laughing. Oh, you know, Max is not with his temper. So these cars go 200 miles per hour. 200 miles per hour, max. Right? 200 miles per hour. And doing something like that in that corner. I know he wasn't going 200 miles per hour in the corner. But basically, he predetermined it. Predetermined. He knew, that means he knew exactly what he was doing. That was his intention, to try to hit George. Because he couldn't get his own way. And he knows that his title hopes are disappeared. They've disappeared and he knows it. So what does he do? He goes back to old Max and starts smashing into people. And the commentators egged it on. Not all of them, but some of them did. And this is what happened. The same old Max Verstappen will never learn, will not listen, will not learn. What wrecked him up, what ruined his race, is when the smart people at Red Bull, supposed to be smart, put him on a free stopper. I don't know what he was doing there. That ruined his race when he put on a free stopper. And the other thing what ruined his race is when he did come in for that pit stop when the safety car come out, he put the hard tyres on. And the reason why I think he put the hard tyres on, because I thought they're the only ones that he had left. because he went for a free stop. The cleverest one was Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc was the cleverest. He's the one who had 2 brand new medium tyres, and he had the advantage over his teammate Lewis Hamilton, which we'll get to in a minute about Lewis Hamilton. Now Lewis Hamilton not having the best of weekends. I thought he looked positive in qualifying, but again, his race pace don't look as good. So we don't know. We need to ask some questions about Lewis Hamilton. Look, I'm a big Lewis Hamilton fan, but I'm going to call it how it is. Rosberg was talking about this weekend about Lewis, about that he's 40 years of age, and could he be losing it? We don't know. We know the car's in the toilet, but Charles is getting the best out of the car. I think Lewis is out qualified Charles twice this season, and but Charles is getting the better of Lewis slightly, only by a bit. I still think Lewis has got something left to offer. But at the end of the day, right, when next season comes, when the new regulations kick in, and if he's still behind, I believe he's going to probably retire, in my opinion. I can't see Lewis going on any longer if he's not in a winning car. And it's not like he can say, right, I'm going to go to Red Bull. Red Bull won't take him. You can't go to McLaren. The McLaren boys are locked in. Not going to go to Mercedes. Mercedes guys are locked in. So he hasn't really left himself in any wriggle room. This is his last shot now at winning anything. Now, for me, Lewis Hamilton will always be an 8-time world champion. Some people reckon he's a 9-time world champion. You can see it how you see it. I think he's an 8-time world champion, and he's the greatest driver apart from Ayrton Senna. He's up there. Them two sit on that pedestal on their own. Obviously, you got Michael Schumacher as well. But look, at the end of the day, he's 40 years of age, and we know when you hit that late 30s and late 30s mark, some people fall off at 35. But when you hit that 40 mark, you know your reactions are not as good as they used to be. Do I think Lewis Hamilton can still win a world title? Of course he can. Of course he can. Of course he can still win a world title. But at the moment, he just needs to get his mind right. He needs to be positive. And his engineer as well needs to be more positive with him as well. People say it's a language barrier. I don't believe that. I think that's horse crap. Them Italian guys, they know how to speak English and they know how to communicate. That language barrier, that don't wash with me. He just needs to get the setup right, and that's it. But this car, remember this weekend was supposed to start of kind of a new, not regulations. They stiffened up the rear wing. The FIA come in and said, look, all cars, no more flexi wings, which was helping Red Bull on the corners, the dodgy flexi wing. All cars have to tighten up the flexi wings. They were taking millimeters off the rear wing, and 5 millimeters that was taken off the rear wing and the front wing. And they had new suspension as well, Ferrari as well this weekend. So it was kind of a new car to try and make sure all the so it can bring in the teams like Ferrari, maybe Mercedes to challenge with McLaren and Red Bull. But nothing's happened. It's still the same. McLaren is still the best, still the fastest, still winning by far. So these regulations that brought in hasn't done anything. But we're going to look at this new regulation, man. You got to think about it, man. The new regulations are kicking. The crap. This has got to be I think this is the worst era of Formula One, the ground effect. It's the worst. They should have kept it the way it was before. When it was in 2021, they should have just carried on more with that until something better come along. This ground effect, it was basically supposed to bunch up the cars more. It hasn't really done that, really, if you think about it. You're still getting the top teams winning everything, and then big gaps. Nothing's really changed. And it was the decent regulations was designed that you could follow a car for longer. You can't, because as soon as you get in the turbulent air, what happens? Look what happened with George. It starts moving under braking because it's a turbulent air. It's trying to control the car. So we know how it is. These regulations hasn't really done anything for Formula One. All it's done is for Red Bull. That's it. So hopefully when the new regulations change next year, it's going to be more about the engine power, no ground effect. So we can get back to normal again. So that's cool. So let's start with the qualifying. Let's start with the qualifying. So Spanish Grand Prix qualifying. I'm just going to briefly go through it, not fast. Not long, but quick. Basically, first stint, it was Piastri on top with a 1 minute 12.5. Max Verstappen was second, just 0.2 behind Piastri, and Norris was third. So again, it's the same old people on the top, 2 McLarens and Red Bull. and that's what it's like. That's what it's been really for most of the season. At the end of Q2, Piastri pulled out another time, 1 minute 11, 9, and Norris, Verstappen was second, and third was Russell. Hamilton was fourth, and in Q3, in the Q2, Russell was saying, I can see a bit of rain. They checked the data on the screen. You know what Russell's like. He likes to talk certain things like that ain't true. Russell come out and said, yep, it's rain. I can see some rain. The data checks and they said we can't see no rain. It's probably about an hour away. So Russell must have been sweating his forehead again, like I said before, in Canada. But it is what it is. Q3, Norris nailed it. He got the 1 minute 11.8. Piastri comes second with 17 thousandths off, 17 thousandths of a second off Norris. So he was really close. Third was Russell. So it was Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Russell, and Hamilton. So Hamilton again showing promise in the race. In qualifying, doing his thing. So race day, Oscar, brilliant start from Oscar Piastri. Absolutely outstanding start from Oscar Piastri. His starts have become so good this season. Oscar Piastri. He's definitely the informed driver of the season so far. Oscar Piastri, nothing phases him. Nothing phases him at all. This guy has got a head like a 30-year-old veteran driver. Someone who's been in Formula One for a decade. That's what it seems like when I see Oscar Piastri. Cool, calm, collective. Brilliant start by Oscar Piastri. George losing out 2 places to the Ferrari guys. Leclerc just come over to George and said, look, I'm taking your spot, man. Boom, over. He started complaining on the radio, George, and then Toto come on and said, listen, George, concentrate. That's basically saying, stop lying and get on with your driving. Very simple. So basically, yeah, that's how it went. So first it was Oscar Piastri. Max Verstappen dive bombed Norris, but Norris wasn't really frustrated because he knew if he just kept that third place, he knew the race would come to him, which it did. So that was it, really. Good start. Lap 7, Albon, front wing. But it was lap 6. Someone his front wing slight damage. I think it was with Lawson. I think it was Lawson. So we came into a lap 7, got the front wing replacement. Lap 8, Charles gaining on Lewis. Like I said, look, at the end of the day, he had the best strategy for me. Charles was the only driver on the grid that had 2 fresh medium tires. And if you've got 2 fresh medium tires and you're doing a 2-stop, that is a good advantage over your teammate. I think Lewis had the soft and medium. So basically, he was gaining on Lewis in lap 8, and I knew at this time the engineers were the garage was probably going to tell him to move over Lewis. Lap 10, Ferrari said to Lewis, swap the cars over. Lewis swapped the cars over. No argument, no nothing. Lap 13, Lando passes Max Verstappen, easy on the straight. That goes back to my point what I said at the beginning. When he passed Lando in the first corner, Verstappen, I don't think Lando was worried that much because he knew that the race would come to him. So lap 13, Lando passes him. Lap 14, this is when, in my opinion, Red Bull went into panic mode. Max puts the soft tires on because his tire wear wore off so fast. 14 laps, his tires were bald. And the reason why he pitted, this is what I think, my theory. I might be wrong. What do I know? I'm just a YouTuber. But my opinion is the reason why Max's tires wore off so fast is because he was trying to get away from Lando Norris. That's what it was. He knew that Lando Norris had the fastest car. He knows Lando Norris got the fastest car. He knows what Lando's race pace is like. I'm sure his race pace, I'm sure they saw that in the data. And he saw that and he said, you know what, I'm going to get away from this guy. And I think that's why he wore out his tires, in my opinion. So lap 15, Lando passes Max. He gained half a second on Oscar. Then lap 16, Oscar responded. So basically, had that battle between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. So Lando, they were saying to Lando, you've got to push on. Lando's got the fastest lap. Then Oscar responded like a true champ that he might be this season. So lap 17, Lewis pits and medium tyres on. Leclerc, lap 18, pits as well. And Rosberg is confused about this situation between Lewis and Lewis and Leclerc, because when Lewis was in front, Leclerc was behind him. When they told to swap the cars over, at lap 10, when Lewis come out the pits, I think he was like 2 places behind 2 places behind Leclerc. So Rosberg was a bit confused why they do it. Then Lewis came on the radio immediately and said, why did you pick me so early? Now, this is the problem with Lewis Hamilton. He's more data-driven. When it comes to a race, he likes to listen to the data on his team. What Lewis should do, if he felt like he had more grip in them tyres, and he thought like he had more grip in his tyres, what he should have done is, because, okay, I've got more grip in my tyres, right? I'm going to stay out a bit longer. Because that's something that was a problem with him last season when he was at Mercedes. When George Russell was there, George Russell used to say, no, I'm staying out longer. And he used to tell the team, I'm going to come and pit now. Or he used to say to the team, maybe not now. Maybe I'll come in 2 laps. But with Lewis, he listens to his engineer bit by. He's more data driven, which for me, I think it should be dependent on the driver. Driver feels good, stay out. But Lewis says, why did you pick me? So this is why Rosberg was so confused with the situation. So George picks lap 21, puts the medium tyres on. Lap 22, the mediums, McLaren, put a 3-second tyre. Max is 10 seconds in front of him. So basically, they pit Oscar Piastri, they put the medium tyres on. Max passes him and he's 10 seconds in front. But we know by this point, Max pitted on lap 14 and Oscar Piastri's got the fresh medium tyres on. So you know that Oscar's got no problem with catching him. The lap after that, the pitted Lando, and lap 22. The lap after that, then they pit Oscar. And then they knew that the McLaren boys were going to catch him anyway, so there's no problem. So no, Oscar was in front first, then it was Lando after they pitted at lap 22 and lap 23. Max had a 10-second gap on Piastri, but we knew that Piastri was going to catch him because Max was just again burning his tires out, and by this point, he's gone for a free stop, which was crazy. The free stop was never going to work here. Albon retired at lap 27. So the engineer said to him, because he had a 10-second time penalty, and then I said to him, just come into the pits and retire the car. They came into the pits. He had a stop and go or something. So what he did, he came into the pits, retired the car. Then the team said to him, no, sit there for 10 seconds, take your penalty, come back out, do one more lap, then retire the car. So he retired the car because he had some altercation, some damage because of Lawson. But it weren't Lawson's fault, it was Albon's fault. So really, Albon had a bad weekend for me. He had a bad weekend. So lap 29, Max pits again for the medium tyres. But at this point, when we pitted again, he was going for the free stop. Leclerc pits at lap 41, put his brand new medium tyres. Remember I said at the beginning of the video that Leclerc had that advantage? He had that advantage because he came with 2 brand new medium tyres. So if you're going for a 2-stop, which Leclerc was going for a 2-stop, 2 brand new tyres, that over your teammate, you're going to win anyway, especially in the same car. So he puts some medium tyres on. Russell pits at lap 42, puts a brand new soft tyres on, used soft tyres. Then lap 47, Lewis pits again, puts the medium tyres on. There was a slight delay in the pits. That was because of Lewis, because when Lewis went into the pits, he went in slanted, didn't go in straight. So I don't know what that was about, why Lewis went in like that. It was just crazy. Lap 48, Max pits for the 3rd time. All right, he pits for the 3rd time. Lap 49, Norris pits lap 50 and Oscar pits at the same time because of the safety car. So no, not the safety car, they pitted anyway. So lap 49, they pitted, Oscar pitted at lap 50 with the soft tyres. So Lando pitted at lap 49, put the tyres on, and lap 50, Oscar puts his tyres on the soft tyres. Both put soft tyres on used. So lap 54, Antonelli from Mercedes went off the track into the gravel. So when I first saw this, initially I thought that he's trying to dodge someone and he came off. What happened was there was electrical fault for his car. His car just suddenly shut down, electrical fault, it was done. So he was out the race. Shame for him. but things like this do happen. It was a power unit, and that's happening more regular as well. I think one of the William guys, I think they had a power unit problem as well, and it's a Mercedes power unit. So that's something Mercedes needs to look at, because this isn't the first time this season. I think it's the first time for the actual Mercedes, but it's not the first time, because I think Williams, they've got a power unit of Mercedes, yeah, and they need to be careful with them power units, Mercedes power units. So this brought out the safety car. The two McLarens did the best thing, in my opinion. They came into the pits and they double stacked. So Oscar came in, double stacked. They put the used soft tires on. Lando put the used soft tires on as well. Max comes in, and this is where he lost. I think Max probably could have got a third place, maybe. But this is what cost him, in my opinion. If you go back and watch the race, study the data, study the onboard, and study the when the debrief comes out, you'll see this where Max made a mistake. Max comes in under the safety car and he put the hard tires on. I'm not sure the reason why he put the hard tires on. Maybe it's because he ran out of tire wear, because he already been in 3 times prior. He done a 3-stopper. He had soft, he had medium, soft, and soft. Or I think it was soft, medium, and soft. So he already used up his tire compound. So when he came in, I think the only tires that they had left was the hard. And I don't think the hard was tested all weekend. All weekend, I don't think the hards were tested. So when he came in, what happened? Came into the pits, he put the hard tires on. And when he came out, he immediately went onto the radio and he said to his team, "Why did you put hard tires on?" I knew it was a mistake that he was going to put the hard tires on. And look who was behind him before the race started again. Charles Leclerc in the brand new medium tires. So at this point, I was thinking, Charles is going to pass him. Charles will pass Max Verstappen, because Charles had the brand new medium tires ready. The medium tires are the best for this track, especially with the weather as well. It goes by the weather, and it was so hot. The medium tires is the best. Soft tires are good, but they won't last. The grip will wear off very fast. So he came in and put the hard tires on. I knew he was done then. Lap 60, it resumed. So as soon as it resumed, the two McLaren guys spun off. They spun off like no man's business. I thought no one's catching them. When it got to the first corner, when it got off the bend, Max Verstappen slipped. His back end of his car slipped. Because you know why it slipped? Because his tires were cold. If you know about Formula 1, and you should know about Formula 1 because you're watching this, Formula 1 tires, with the hard tires, it doesn't matter how hot it is, it takes a couple of laps for them to warm up and be race ready. You ain't got that time when you got 6 laps to go in the safety car. You ain't got that time. So as soon as Max spun off, his back end slipped, and then Charles Leclerc in 4th jumped on him straight away. He jumped on him, he grazed his car a little bit. Not really a penalty, but he passed him. So that was him out of the way. And then George, in that first corner, George dive bombed him. He dive bombed him, and then he was behind Charles Leclerc on a bend. He was right on the bend. So what happened was, George was behind Charles Leclerc. Max was behind him, and what happened is, as George was passing him on the bend, George got in the turbulent air of Charles Leclerc. And this is what goes back to my points at the beginning, what I said. This generation, these cars, the ground effect was designed for cars to follow other cars more easily, and it hasn't done that job. It has failed. It has failed. So when George was in the turbulent air of Charles Leclerc, what happened? What do you think is going to happen? The car started spinning, the steering got light, and George just accidentally grazed Max Verstappen's car. It wasn't hard. It wasn't a penalty, in my opinion. That's why I don't think he got a penalty. He just went past him. He just went past him. And Max Verstappen, being Max Verstappen, this change guy, yeah, right, put that in brackets. What happened was, he passed him, and then Max Verstappen went on to the runoff area, came back onto the track, and rejoined in front of George Russell. Now, we know we're driving. If the car's in front, if they've got a nose in front, and then you go off and come back on and rejoin in front of that driver, you've got to give the place back, or you're going to get a penalty. So, as the race progressed, I think it was half a lap, no, 1 lap later, the radio guy said to Max Verstappen, "You're gonna give the place back. You're gonna give the place back. You're gonna give the place back to George." And Max Verstappen was vexed. So what Max Verstappen did, said, "Okay, all right, no problem." So what Max Verstappen did, he waited to a tight corner, he slowed down, he let George think he could pass. And as soon as George went to pass, Max Verstappen hit him on purpose. On purpose. I don't think I've ever saw that in Formula One. I don't think I've ever saw something like that. And he done it on purpose. He basically admitted it in the interview as well. He done it on purpose. And that's a disgraceful move that he done on George Russell. A disgraceful move. Just because his team, you got to blame his team. His team put the hard tyres on. And that effectively lost him a podium. Because there was no way that he was going to keep Charles Leclerc behind him while Charles Leclerc was on the brand new medium tyres after the safety car. It was never going to happen. Never going to happen. So what happened is he hit George Russell. George Russell goes, "What the hell?" Immediately on the radio, he actually saw his finger when they'd done that on board, pressed on the radio straight away, and that was it. So he got a 10-second time penalty, which was very lenient for me, because even Rosberg said it as well. He should have got black flag, but he got away with it. And then he got a 10-second time penalty and finished with 1 point. So the winner at the end of the race was Oscar Piastri. Second was Lando Norris. And third was Charles Leclerc, which I was happy about. So I'm going to bring up the standings, the race finishes, and then we'll finish. Right, let's get on the standings results. Let's bring this up on the screen for you guys. Share the screen. There we go. So this is the finish. So Oscar Piastri first, second Lando Norris, third Charles Leclerc, fourth George Russell, fifth Nico Hülkenberg, third place to Nico Hülkenberg, getting a win. What do we? I'll just fix that again. Bring that up. Sorry, we're gonna bring up my bit of a glitch. There you go. So yeah, there's the results there. Oscar Piastri in first, second Lando Norris, third Charles Leclerc, fourth George Russell, fifth place Nico Hülkenberg. Good for him. I think that's his first fifth place in Formula One history, and that guy is a veteran. He's been around 10 years at least. Sixth place Lewis Hamilton, seventh place Isaac Hadjar. My favourite of the rookies. For me, he's the best rookie. I said it from the third racing. I said it from the first racing. I think that Isaac Hadjar is probably the best out of the rookies for me. 10th, no, 8th place Pierre Gasly, 9th place Fernando Alonso, 10th Max Verstappen, 11th Liam Lawson. Let's bring it in so it's a bit bigger. Lawson in 11th, 12th place Gabriel Baratelli, 13th place Yuki Tsunoda, 14th place Carlos Sainz, 15th place Franco Colapinto, 6th place 16th place Esteban Ocon, 17th place Oliver Bierman, and the DNS were Kimi Antonelli and Albon. That was a retirement. So let's go for the Drivers' Championship, where we are. You can see now it's coming more clear now that it looks like the Drivers' Championship is between the two McLaren guys. I think the best for me. I think about 4 races in, I probably thought it was going to be between the two McLaren guys, in my opinion. 4 races in. So you can see Oscar Piastri at 186, 10 points behind him, Lando Norris at 176. Then you got Max Verstappen in third in 137, George Russell in fourth in 111. Max Verstappen better watch that George not pass him. We know George and Max Verstappen don't like each other. That's another good rivalry in the future I want to see, man. You know, George don't care about Max Verstappen, man. He's on it as well. 5th place, Charles Leclerc, 94. Lewis Hamilton, 6th place with 71 points. 7th place, Kimi Antonelli, 48 points. 8th place, Alexander Albon in 42 points. 9th place, Isa Ajar, 21 points. 10th place, Esteban Ocon in 20th. 11th place, Nico Hülkenberg is 16 points, so he's got his points, 12 points. 12th place, Lance Stroll with 14 points. 13th place, Carlos Sainz with 12 points. And 14th place, Pierre Gasly with 11 points. 15th place, Yuki Tsunoda with 10th place, with 10 points, sorry. 16th place, Oliver Bierman with 6 points. 17th place, Liam Lawson with 4 points. Alonso scoring his first points of the season. Alonso in his home country got 2 points today. 19th place, Gabriel Balotelli with 0 points, and Jack Doohan nothing, and Franco Colapinto nothing. Wow. So let's see the constructors. It looks like the constructors that the McLaren boys are probably locked out now. It's probably over regarding the constructor points. Second place, Ferrari, 165. Third place, Mercedes, 159. That's probably going to be a battle to the end of the season. Red Bull in fourth place in 144. We never thought Red Bull fourth place in the constructors. That's what happens when you get a guy. This is what happens when you make a car for one driver. And fifth place, Williams in 54 points. Sixth place, Racing Red Bull Honda, basically Red Bull 2.0. They were 28 points. Seventh place, Haas, 26 points. In eighth place, Saba with 16 points and equal with them, Aston Martin 16. And bottom is Alpine Renault. So that's basically the end of it, man. That's the end of the review. I want everybody to like the video, and people listening on the audio and the podcast, remember to recommend it and comment on it as well and leave a feedback. Sorry about the glitchy camera, but it is what it is. That's stream yard for you. So yeah, so that's the end of the review. I will be back tomorrow, probably doing another video regarding probably doing some football stuff tomorrow. Because remember, there's no football season. There's no Formula One videos for 2 weeks. So I'm gonna find something to do on the channel. But I'll figure something out. I'm gonna do something on the channel. But probably gonna be some transfer videos coming tomorrow as well, because I've got a feeling Liverpool is gonna be signing some someone hopefully soon. So yeah. So this is me signing out, guys. Big up to you. I think the next one is in 2 weeks in Canada. I like that track, classic track. Very good track that is. So I'm excited for the Canada one. And yeah, man, that's it, man. Round 9 over. And you know what I mean? It's going fast, man. It's going fast, but I don't want it to. I want it to last because I love Formula One. But big up to you. Big up to you. See you later, guys. Boom.